So let's
I
get
will,
into
brother.
it.
All right, so everybody watching that may not know, this is Craig muMs Grant. This brother is an extremely talented actor, poet, playwright, actor on screen and stage. He's literally a Renaissance man, does it all. It's funny because I came up in the Detroit poetry scene in the mid to late 90s. And so having you on my program, to me, personally, is crazy monumental, man, because Slam Nation, everything you've done out here, bro, like I know a lot, you know what I'm saying? And so it's an honor to have you here, man. For people that may not know, I actually pulled up your IMDb real quick, if you don't mind me listing a few credits. So let's see, we got Craig muMs in the building. We got Slam Nation, Bamboozle, Good Time, which is an awesome movie. Robert Pattinson, by the way. Underrated movie. I love that movie. Black Klansman, High Maintenance. I saw your episode, by the way. Lights Off in the Real World, the Chappelle Real World. That was a good one right there. Luke Cage, and of course, Poet from Oz. So much work you've done out here, man. I know a lot of people probably remember you as Poet from Oz. How'd that even come about, man? Like that role?
Oh, that role, I was spitting at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe from about 92 to about 96, you know, regularly. You know, I was there every week. And, you know, it just so happens one time I was there, I did this poem called Kidnap the President's Wife Without a Plan. And there was a director in the audience, Darnell Martin, and she was directing the pilot episode of Oz. And she saw that poem, she saw me do it, and came up to me afterwards and asked me if I wanted to audition for Oz. And little did I know, she had also brought the executive producer the week before to see me perform. So he had already seen me. So they just, you know, offered me the role. And I was like, yeah, name him Poet, you know.
Nice.
And that was that. That was that story.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, that was such a crazy role. It's funny because no matter who you didn't like on Oz, everybody messed with Poet. Like everybody liked Poet. Like Poet was like that neutral, cool brother on the show that everybody got down with. You know what I'm saying? Like Beecher, all them guys, it was terrible. All them other guys were terrible. But you were the man, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. That was a fun time, man. That was over 20 years ago. I mean, no. What am I talking about? No. 15. No, well, it started in 97 and we ended in 2003. So, yeah, close to 20 years ago we ended. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was a long time ago.
And you're from the Bronx, right? Can you tell us about, you brought up New Eurekan, man. I performed in New Eurekan probably twice, and for me, that's like the holy grail of poetry spots, like around the world. And shout to New Eurekan, I'm glad he's still there, still putting it down. Can you describe what the early 90s poetry, hip-hop, creative scene was like in New York? Because being from Detroit, we have a reverence for that. You guys had people like Mos Def, Jessica, yourself, Talib. I mean, it was just like, it was blowing up. You know what I'm saying? I was here in Detroit buying the CDs, buying the tapes, watching the Def Poetry Jam stuff, like really just like soaking it all in. Can you like describe what that vibe was like back then?
It was beautiful, man. It was, you know, it was the backpack set, you know. It was all these kind of like nerdy hip hop fans and rappers, you know. It was because it was also the time of gangster rap. And so we felt a little alienated because it was like, you know, I had a rap called Rusty Razor Blades, but that just wasn't me. You know what I mean? And the industry was kind of like forcing you to like adhere to that. You know, I was trying to get a deal as a rapper in the early 90s. And it just, the industry was like guiding you towards this gangster rap, and it just wasn't working for me. So I ended up just like looking for a stage, looking for a place where I could perform, because I hadn't performed. You know, I was a studio rapper, you know. So I made demo tape after demo tape after demo tape and was shopping, but I hadn't performed on the stage. So I was like, all right, I gotta go perform. And I found a New Eurekan, and Bobito was hosting back then. And shout out to Bobito. Uh, it was like, it was hip hop, jazz, poetry. You know, there'd be a house band, and you had to spit in front of the band, and like, you know, I love that. You know, in fact, I miss it. Like, I haven't spat in front of a live band in a long time, and I miss that. You know, but it was just uh, nothing has captured my attention like going to the New Eurekan every month. Like, it was something to look forward to. See my people spit this butter, you know. And it was always like, oh, wait till they hear this new joint that I got, you know. And it was just community. And like, it was only after that I realized who was in the house, you know. It was Mos, Talib, but like, you know, Saul, Jessica, Hosea, you know, there was a few times 50 Cent was there, like, you know, Eminem, and, you know, it was just this underground. The underground was bubbling in New York back then, you know, between the New Eurekan, Brooklyn Moon Cafe. Most had a poetry spot in Brooklyn that we used to go to. Lyricist Lounge. You know, we were all like, everybody saw everybody there, you know. And it was just a beautiful time. It was pure, you know what I mean? It was about the rhymes. And it was like, let me pull my rhyme book out of my backpack, you know. And and everybody was experimenting. Nobody was adhering to any you know, set rules of what hip hop was supposed to be. You know, so somebody over here was rhyming about how dope they are on the mic. Somebody over here was rhyming about existentialism. You know what I mean? And that was a beautiful thing, you know. So yeah, I'm glad they've come up in that time. You know what I mean? It's fueled me. And that's why I still do it. You know, I still spit. Like, I don't necessarily spit on the stage as frequently, but I still write poetry. I still write rhymes. I'm going through a ton of it right now. Trying to look for something clean.
Who are your influences as poet?
My muses are Rakim Allah, without a doubt, my favorite MC. Prince, and Nietzsche.
Nietzsche, okay, word.
Yeah, I like the boldness of Nietzsche. All of them have the ego, have different forms of huge egos. You know, so I appreciate that. I pull from that, you know, and they're all brilliant. They're all brilliant, you know. And that's, you know, style wise, that's, you know, those are my influences. Yeah.
I know you mentioned before that back during the New Eurekan time, people were experimenting, taking chances with the art. You know, me, I'm kind of old, you know, I've been around for a minute, and I noticed that a lot of times in the scene now, there seems to be a certain poetry style that people kind of go along with. I don't know if it was like brought on by people like you, certain people, and people just kind of never like changed it up. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of stuck with a certain cadence, a certain flow, a certain way of doing it.
I will say
I've noticed that, man. Like, what advice do you have?
Advice?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, it's always best to stay original to, you know, who you are. Like, if you're trying to be a poet, then you're not succeeding. You know, if you just want to, like, you know, go up and recite the first thing that you wrote down without editing, and then you're not adhering to the craft. You know, I see it's hard for me to go to poetry spots now because a lot of people are either in that standard cadence, or they're they're just ranting. You know what I mean? And and I'm not trying to diss nobody because I used to rant. I used to get up and just rant. Blah, 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 blah. But then, like, it's a craft, just like rhyming is in that structure to fit on the beat. Poetry should be structured. You know what I mean? I think it's like we're not adhering to any type of standard poetry. It's all free form. I was labeled a street poet by most of the literary set, and that's fine, but it's free form. Like, there's no standard phrasings. But I don't know how to put it because it's not defined. But when I go to edit, I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want to hear. How frequently I want to like rhyme or not rhyme. You know what I mean? Like, there's something there from my ear that I edit towards, and it has nothing to do with anybody else. So my cadence switches up constantly. But I've heard a lot of people sound like me, and that's an honor, whether they know it or not. You know what I mean? It's an honor, and it's cool.
No, that's real, bro, because a lot of styles came up like, these things were set in stone a while back, and people just kind of latched onto it and never really changed it up or like advanced it. And you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I like that. And maybe subconsciously it just kind of like sounding like that. And I started off rapping too. So like, when I was coming up, influences like Rakim, CL Smooth, Q-Tip, these are the guys I wanted to sound like. Common, being from the Midwest, Common was like the regular hip hop dude. You know what I'm saying? These are the people I looked up to. But I also knew that I had to forge my own path, man, because I couldn't just sound like these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta forge your own path. Yep.
I mean, that's what I love. Like take Sadat X from Brand Nubian, for an example. Nobody sounds like Sadat X when he's rhyming. And I appreciate that. Like, he forged his own path. You could tell he listened to Rakim. In fact, there's so many MCs out here, you could tell who they was listening to when they was young, And that's dope. That's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to influence and keep influencing and keep building on itself. You know what I mean? So it's just evolution. We're all inspired by somebody else. It's it was this not existential. It's this cultural analyst, this French cultural analyst, Baudrillard. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he wrote this book called Simulations and Simulacra, and in it kind of what I took from it mostly is that there's nothing new in the world of art. There's nothing new, like numbers. There's only 0 through 9. After 9, there's 1 and 0, 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3. So to infinity. So it keeps building on itself. There's no new art except for the combinations of the original arts. You know what I mean? And that's where we're at. I took poetry and beats and rhymes, and forward new thinking, or modernized thinking, and that's what we created on the poetry scene back in the 90s. It's not like poetry hadn't been done before, you know what I mean? But it was like we were building on the beat poets, from the 60s and stuff. So people are going to build on what we did in the 90s and beyond, and in between will be these lulls of boring, standardized, like everybody's doing the same type of thing moments that we'll get beyond. But like, I remember sitting with Saul one time at a poetry spot and watching this poet perform. Shafiq, I think his name was. And both me and Saul looked at each other like, yo, who's this kid? And then I never heard from that poet again, but he was brilliant, and it was this combination of poetry, but also performance art. You know what I mean? Like the motions of the like the poses that he would make. You know, he was like a movement artist at the same time as being a poet, at the same time as being an actor, you know, and all of those forms like blended perfectly on stage. And me and Saul's jaws dropped like, yo, who's that? You know? And I just thought that was brilliant. Like somebody took it to the next level, and that's what it's supposed to do. You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, shoot. Speaking of next level, man, we would love for you to share something with us. I know you were searching for something clean. Whatever you got, whatever you feel like sharing, bro. This is
Paradoxical. Okay. Paradoxical Love MC. I'm gonna give you one because it's this long. A tariff for Pox to defend those outside the house. A pox on those who chose to douse these blind, devout centuries beyond truth, with a skewed, perceived, egregious, unknowing of this obvious earth, this time. Projects blocking out the sun, the signs. I got these rhymes from out the trees. At birth, I popped out my moms and did a freeze on the conveyor belt where the real is felt. Fear, pain, sadness, my first emotions. Scoping the goals. Bred to generate this vomit to turn up economic spit. I impose a writ, enforcing the course of consciousness that defines the climate. Somebody say, ho. Somebody say, no. Somebody, anybody, everybody scream and don't stop. Keep on till the break of dawn. A tariff on those who hold the feet of the future and they don't stop. Somebody said he saw heaven. Somebody see ghosts, hear ancestors. Somebody argue with the air. Maybe the smoke got awakening memories across lifetimes till Lifetime does an event special at the same time Jesus comes back on a Buddha strain, talking about been here, done that, all up in the hats, the fuel that burns the beams like law and order, just the facts. I only know the facts, like how I be eating cats with rhymes, letters that fall from the weather, structure from the designs of the swirls of smoke on the water, erupting in the mind, awakening the cause, the hope. But yes, y'all, don't stop. A pox on to those who swag, walk, quake, the footing of them fiending for the pot with the meat, lost in the glistening of their ice-eating cake. The dollar wranglers dancing the dirty and stanking out over the field underneath the sun. Move that information. Clack, clack on that. They outside the house. Is Brooklyn in the house? In the Bronx, we sweat in the fleet measure off a broke mirror in the grass. Worth buried in the bottom of the pyramid. In the dirt, in the grass. Him say, make them sleep. Give them something to look at so they can't see. I know they gonna think, but we can't let them be the bearer of what breaks the structure. But the structure goes first. That's the blood of the door. That's the blood on the door frame of the curse. In that, the thirst. Believe what you want. Somebody always gonna believe in the blade, they purse. They station in the mass, the chaotic ballet, the steel still always make the bowel move. They vengeance, they justice justified. Future leaving them in the dust of time, coughing on the edge of a beach in front of a wave, praying that old school rhyme just to get up in the house. So yes, y'all, but you don't stop run, and you don't stop duck, and you don't stop die, and you don't stop slave labor, make martyrs of those who get slayed later, lay in wait in the time destiny design, Reverend Fate, nature corrects, bees pollinate till they don't, till it stop. But you don't stop. Pots, a bitten thumb to tell the earth to get at you. Another sprinkling dash stirred in the hate stew, in that spiral of nature that'll send you reeling into the sun in real time. I'm here to rock your mind with this rhyme, this nine, this void, this infinity, this some dangled you can't get to. 360 degrees is what keeps you warm in the spring. Your body reaching for your next meal. Is real when your proxies personified by plastic give you that anxious moment, that hope of approval at the register. You need to register. What's your code for the register? You on the list? Yeah, you on the list. Turn your phone on with your finger, looking in a lens. Picture yourself in your eyes, but you ain't see the distortion in the river. It carries the angst out from the bushes onto the banks, ravaged by the birds, hungry and lost, senses off for the true north, mistook for the one in the pop and the bubble and the barcode, hashtag just my opinion. But today, I found me a new religion. I worship nothing, because nothing is greater than God, right? The weight of the world be hard to hold when the air ain't free and you floating, but believing you could fly, Gaia gonna get it that in million-year cycles. Ain't no money by that type of calculation, trying to cop them tulips early, but it's too late. But don't worry, we won't feel a thing. None from doing the damn thing. Used to seeing it all and then some, then none. I got baby kitten fails on my smartphone. They got guns, tasers. They book to reference wrong the way they think. I'm thinking anew. Our focus is on the forewarning and the chirps of the birds in the morning by my window where I kneel as the day opens, in the quiet, in the breeze, in the breath, in the deep. I squeeze my girlfriend's feet right here. This right here is where my hand is the strongest, extended in love. That's an
That was
old
awesome,
version,
bro. Thank you, man.
That's an old version of a new poem.
So during the week, I have a job where I work as the poetry workshop guy at this place called Mariners Inn, which is in Detroit, which is it's like a resource center for men dealing with mental illness, addiction, things like that. And I've been there for about 4 years now. And when I first started, you know, I've never been to prison, poet guy. You know, these cats are like living life real, dealing with addiction, homelessness, really just trying to make it. And for me to connect with you guys, man, just with some real stuff, after a while, we should start watching videos of poets and stuff. And you're one of the first poets I exposed them to. And a couple of cats were hip, of course, because of Oz and this and that or whatever. A couple of cats had seen that poetry jam, so they knew about you. You know, cats in prison be on stuff, man. They be like the best writers, the best thinkers, you know, like they be deep. And so I'm going to show this video to my bros when I finally go back to Mariners. And they're going to love this, man. So you give my brothers at Mariners Inn a shout out real quick, because they're going to love this.
To the brothers and Mariners, stay up, keep your head, and peace and love to all of you, for real. You know, keep expanding and, you know, keep shoving knowledge into your head, because can't nobody keep you from that.
That's real, brother. That's real. Thank you so much, muMs. Craig muMs Grant in the building. One last question before I let you go. During this time, and brother, like I said before, thank you for doing this. I know you got so much. What's your personal pocket of joy for you right now? What are you leaning into to kind of offer you some peace during this time of lockdown and with personal things and everything you have going on, brother? What's your pocket of joy?
Oh, right here. You know, it's so funny, man. Right here, sitting right here in front of my computer, you know, creating, you know, it's not just about writing rhymes. It's like editing and putting, you know, the right rhyme into the right format. I got my microphone here. I'm spitting. I got beats. I'm pulling beats off of YouTube. I'm jacking beats, and I'm making beats, and just my pocket of joy is just a state of creativity. You know, I want to be creative. You know, I'm writing graffiti. You know, there's this shout out to this site called Black Bookology on Instagram that puts up these graffiti challenges, and that just inspires me. Like you know, I'm a Black Book graffiti artist. You know, old school. And that's, you know, that's just, you know, I'll doodle until I come up with the first line of a poem, you know, and then and sometimes it takes a long time, and that doodle turns into like a big, you know, piece, you know. I was trying to see if there's anything around to show you. It's all upstairs. But like, you know, just a state of creativity. You know, my partner and I, she's a creative. I'm a creative. Her son is a creative. You know, we just we're putting paint on the canvas up in here until we get the all clear. Yeah, that's what's up.
That's what's up, my brother. Mums, thank you so much for being here, man. On behalf of DHS, Detroit Historical Society, myself, the whole city of Detroit, Jessica Care Moore, what up, though? Thank you for doing this, bro. And when I'm in New York, man, I'm gonna look you up, bro.
Cool, do that. No problem. Blessings up. All right.
Thank you, brother.
Peace.